In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to create a circle by freehand sketching with nothing but a box on the outside of the circle. So the circle is going to be tangent to the box. Remember, tangent means that the circle touches each line at one point and only one point. You should already have your title block drawn in, your border with your title block drawn in, name, class, and drawing number. You will put in your name, your class period, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it is, and then the drawing number. For this drawing, it's going to be S1. So we're going to start by drawing a 2-inch box. If you remember, we already talked about I had you guys create a ruler to help you with scaling, and you marked where an inch was on your scale. So I'm going to get 2 inches by taking my ruler and I'm going to fold it where that line is. Okay? So I'm going to fold it in half. And then where I fold it in half, I folded it at 1 inch, I'm going to put a mark where the folded part of my ruler touches on the flat part. Okay, so now I have my 2-inch mark. So to create a 2-inch square, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put down my ruler. Remember, do not use this to draw a straight edge. I'm going to mark the beginning, I'm going to mark the middle, and I'm going to mark the end. Okay? Then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to do the same thing with the side. I'm going to mark the beginning, the middle, and the end. Do the same thing on this side. The beginning, the middle, and the end. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the top. Now you may ask, why do the top when you've already got your 3 sides and you've got your points to connect this? By doing the top, I can tell if I got my ruler off a little bit. If you see, it doesn't reach. So that means somewhere on one of my lines I got off, and I can kind of see that maybe it was this one. So I marked here, I'm going to mark here, and I'm going to mark here. And then I'm going to try this side again. Okay? So you see it's off here. So now I'm going to try this side. And I can see right there, maybe that's where I got off. So I'm going to remark it. And now I've got the correct line. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase the lines that I don't need, just so that I don't accidentally use them for something that I don't want to use them for, okay? So now that I've got my box, what I want to do is draw in, I've got my marks for my box, what I want to do is draw in the actual box itself. Remember, what you're going to do, you always want to look at the point you're going towards, and don't pick up your pencil. Remember, don't do a bunch of sketching lines. You want just one line. I'm going to go from this point to my next point to that one. I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom one also, just because my paper's in that same direction. And if you get off a little bit, go back and fix it. I don't expect you to go back and erase these little mistakes right now, because you're just learning and it's just practice. When you're trying to get an actual one to me, that's where I want you to go back and erase some of those mistakes. Now, because you're freehand sketching, feel free to go ahead and rotate your page so that you don't have to try and sketch at a weird angle. And I missed that one, so I'm going to go back and do it again. Turn your paper whatever way works for you. It does not have to be in a specific way. It doesn't have to be straight. You can turn it around as much as you want, okay? So the next thing I need is these center points, the center lines for my circle. So this box is 2 inches. I already have 1 inch marked on my ruler. And if you marked it well, you can use the marks you already made for the center. But because I marked them this way and not this way, I'm going to go ahead and remark my center on each line. And then once you've marked your centers on each line, what you want to do is, if you need it, go ahead and mark the center in the center, like mark this mark, Okay, and then also check it this way, and it'll help you see if you are square or not. So I have my center mark. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw in my center line here, going across, and then I'll do my top to bottom center line. Okay, so now I have my center lines. Okay, the other thing I'm going to go ahead and put in is diagonal lines. Okay, from corner to corner and in the center. This may be a little long for you to draw on your own without another mark, so if you want to, go ahead and take your ruler and line it up from point to point and draw in an extra mark if you need it to help you kind of see where you're going. If you feel like you don't need it and you feel like those 3 points are enough, then you can draw it with just those 3 points. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put in my diagonal lines. And always, it's kind of a preference. It's typically standard to draw from left to right, especially if you're left-handed. But if you prefer to draw right to left, go ahead and draw right to left. It's up to you. Just try and do it the same way each time so that your lines come out the same. Okay. So I have my 2-inch square, I have my diagonals, I have my center lines. Because it is a square and my circle is going to touch at the 4 midpoints of my line, I know that from here to here is a measurement on my circle. The measurement from here to here is radius. This is the radius of my circle. And remember, radius is from center to the outside of my circle. So that's my radius. So I'm going to take that measurement, which is 1 inch, and I'm going to lay it out on my diagonals. So I'm just going to take my ruler, I'm going to put my inch mark in the middle, and on the end of my ruler I'm going to mark that on each diagonal line. Okay, I got off on that one a little bit. So I'm going to mark that one, and I have one more to mark. So I am marking my radius of on each diagonal line. And you can kind of see I've got this point, this point, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And you can kind of see the circle start to take shape. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start by going from one point to the next and knowing that my circle is going to start to curve as I get to those points. Turn the paper as you need to. Okay. This first time you draw it, it's going to look kind of wonky. You just have to keep working with it until you feel like you've got it right. The more you draw them, the better you're going to get at it. And you can see mine's getting kind of wonky. So what you may do, once you've drawn it, and maybe see some of the parts that look fine, and then go back and maybe fix some of the parts that aren't so great so that it resembles a circle. Like this side got kind of flat, so I want to kind of bring it up a little bit more. There we go. This side looks pretty good. This side looks pretty good, except kind of towards the end. This side got flat, so I want to fix that. And then this guy got flat, so I want to fix that. And your circle is going to end up being kind of, you want it to be kind of one continuous loop. Okay? And as you kind of fix it, you'll start to see it take shape. Okay? So, to review how we did this, we drew a 2-inch square. We put in our horizontal and vertical center lines. We put in our diagonal lines. We took the radius, which was from the center to the outside of our square, and we laid that distance out on our diagonals. And by doing that, it gave you 8 points to draw your circle on. The 4 tangent points and then your 4 diagonals. If you have any questions about this, let me know.